Hello, you all. It is Jenny here, and I am coming to you. I always like to click on the audio just to make sure it's recording. I am coming with an update on day 7. Sorry about that. I just rewrote my notes, actually, because I keep getting the days shifted. Because I have today's weight, but I'm really talking about the previous day because that's what I ate. Anyway, so day 7. Well, today's weigh-in was 167.8, so that was a loss of 0.9 pounds. So that's pretty good, pretty close. When it gets down to 0.7, then I start getting discouraged. But 0.9, just 0.1 away from losing a pound, so I'll take it. Overall, it's been 8 days, and I have lost 5 pounds. 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, geez. I have to look at and see what I said yesterday. It's the next day. It's around 7 or 8 days. I don't know why my chart is so confusing to me. Okay. So I probably should rewrite it so that I have everything I ate that day and then my weigh-in from the next morning at the end, because that eating affects the weigh-in the next day. I have the chart written separately, so I have the weight from that day and everything I ate, and then the next day it starts with the weigh-in because that's the first thing I do in the morning. All right, you don't care. Sorry about the confusion. So anyway, the point is, after my 0.9 weight gain and then 0 weight loss, I had a 1.9 loss and a 0.9. So we're getting back down there again. We are now back over the hump, over 5 pounds in 8 days. That's pretty good. I'm hoping to, just keep it going. So what did I eat yesterday? Well, I had my women's study. Remember I said I wasn't going to eat anything? It was just really hard. But I was pretty good. There were 4 options. There was an amazing fresh baked warm banana bread with walnuts in it. Didn't touch that. There were also brownies that were you could see so chewy and just lots of them. Like I could have eaten 5 of them and nobody would have even noticed because there was a plethora of them. I didn't touch that. See, are you proud of me? Okay, there were blueberries. I took about between 5 and 10 blueberries, just a tiny little bit, just to kind of sprinkle on my plate, along with a piece of the breakfast casserole they had. Now, the breakfast casserole was about maybe this big, I want to say. I mean, it was about this thick, and then a square. She had them cut into really pretty small squares. It's not like a serving by any means, not an American size serving, but there was a pretty small little thing. So I ate that. Now, it had egg, which is fine because that's on the diet. It had green pepper. It had green onions. It had meat, which I thought was like a ham, but it turns out that it was pepperoni, but I only had like two tiny little cut up pieces that was in there. And it did have potatoes. So that's the only other thing that was not okay. But clearly not that much because it was such a small piece and all these other things were in it. I think there were mushrooms in there too. It was good and it looked healthy and I could see a lot of veggies on the top. And so I put one of those on my plate and then nobody said anything and I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't go back and have a second, although it was amazing. I did get the recipe. But it was, so it was good. Okay. What else did I eat? I had 2 pieces of fish and I weighed them ahead of time and it came out to 6.6 ounces. So on this diet, you are permitted 7 ounces a day, 8 according to what most people say now. Most people don't use the 3.5. They just say 4 ounces of meat twice a day. So I was below both of those in terms of the total amount of fish. I did find a way to cook it when I had it completely defrosted in the pan. What did I add this time? Wait, let me think. I cooked it up last night, and when I ate it, I really enjoyed it. Okay, I did no salt, no seasoning salt, no garlic salt. I added that last time, but I did do a decent amount of just garlic on it. I love garlic. So I did a garlic powder with a lot of crumbled up. I have to double check. I don't know if it was basil or oregano because I get them in little bags from the Amish country. And then sometimes over time, the label wears off. I'm not sure if it's on there. I didn't really notice, but whatever. It doesn't matter. But I did a lot of that. And then as I mixed it up in the pan, it just kind of mixed with everything and kind of all started falling apart. So it was just sort of like a big pile of seasoned fish. And I enjoyed it. So that makes me very happy because I looked to see if I ate 2 pieces of fish a day, it would take me over a week. It'd be like a week and a half to get through that whole bag. So for not enjoying it, like I didn't enjoy it the day before, I'm happy that I have a way to eat it now. All right, so I had that with a plate of mixed vegetables again, which included broccoli, cauliflower, some carrots, buttersquash. Maybe that's it. I think those are the 4 that are in there. And I did no salt. I didn't really enjoy it a whole bunch. Normally I put salt on the vegetables too. And I had a ton of seasoning salt on the fish. I had no seasoning salt on the fish. I had no salt on the vegetables. It was a mistake. I didn't mean to do it. I really wanted salt. And after I took it upstairs and I was eating it up there and I realized this is quite bland. Just kept eating it. I mean, there was enough seasonings in the fish that it made it palatable, and I was just too lazy to go downstairs, and I knew that I was trying to kind of monitor my salt intake a little bit anyway. So yeah, and then I knew that I had the little breakfast thing earlier in the day. Okay, where did I fall apart? I had a little bit of peanuts at the end of the day. And I will say true confessions, I don't think it was because I was hungry. I just think it was because I saw them in there. I was down in the pantry getting out of flavor packaging. I need to move the peanuts, so I need to readjust my pantry so that I don't see these foods. I can resist foods that are very tempting to me that I know are horrible. You know, like I see pretzels in there, I see tortilla chips, I see lots of things. But because I know that there are no carbs and that it's all protein and that generally it's a healthy fat, it is hard for me to resist peanuts because I feel like it's an okay cheat. So yeah, I counted up. I probably had about between 10 and 20 peanuts in my hand. So it wasn't a serving as listed on the outside. I think 35 nuts are considered a serving, and I counted every piece, even the like half ones. I imagine a full one is considered a peanut. So it wasn't significant, but it was, like if I'm really trying to lose a lot of weight, I wouldn't do that, right? So there you go. That's what I ate. I did lose 0.9 and I'm very happy with that. So staying on track today, going to do the same thing. I'm enjoying the mixed vegetables with the fish right now. It's a happy time of eating these. In a couple days, when it comes to the weekend, we do have a bunch of bacon, and it's been a couple weeks since I've made that breakfast casserole. I can see that my son is just eating cereal, Special K cereal every morning, and he just needs more proteins because he doesn't like a lot of proteins, and this is something he'll eat. So I'm going to make a big breakfast casserole with the bacon, and then I probably will end up having like a bacon salad on that day because it's at least it's a way to justify just not like eating and snacking or eating the breakfast casserole, because the breakfast casserole I make has bread in it too, so I can't eat it. So that's the plan going forward. Now today, I'm going to talk briefly about eating to hunger. Now, that doesn't mean you eat as much as you want on this diet when it comes to eating to hunger. First of all, we have to define what is hunger and what is I want to eat, because they're very different. They are very different. I live my life in the world of I want to eat. It truly isn't hunger. If we go back to the early days that we have documented information on our early ancestors, and that the men went out hunting and basically spent the majority of the day hunting. They would bring home what they caught, and then the wives would cook it up. So it was very fresh. They would have fruits and vegetables that the women would garden throughout the day, and that would be part of the meal. And they would basically have one meal a day. So that goes to show you that the philosophy that we have been told over the years of you have to continue to eat all day or your metabolism is going to stop is not true. This is the normal way. And let me tell you, those prehistoric men were in shape. They were walking around all day. They were hunting. They were strong men who were also lifting boulders and building and whatnot. And so it was okay for them to just have this one meal a day. Okay. They also were in the habit of, I was reading Dr. Simeon's protocol again this morning. It's just fascinating. It really is. There's so much stuff I forgot that was in there that I think I'm going to do a whole series of videos now where I'm just going to take one little paragraph at a time and go through it and kind of pick it apart and share it with you, whether it's completely applicable to what's going on right now. I mean, what I was trying to do this morning is I was reading through it and then kind of reading through it again and then like trying to like piecemeal. I'm like, this is going to be way too difficult. This is like me teaching a college level class, trying to synthesize all this scientific information and putting it together with results in that. So I think I might just go bit by bit through the thing and just talk about sort of paragraph by paragraph at the time. But one of the things that I was reading is he was saying that early on, many people ate to hunger. This is how society was prior to the world of opulence, when we had kings and queens, and obesity, and the larger you were was a sign of wealth and status. And it was physically desired by men to have very, very curvy women. It's interesting because he says in there too something to the effect of basically what he says. I don't remember the proper terms he used it, but basically he said the only that has gone away with society over time, with the exception of the voluptuous breasts, are still considered a desirable thing. So, which he said was tied into the original desire for an attraction to the breast, was also tied into that wealth kind of thing. So I don't know. It's neither here nor there, but it's just sort of fascinating to read through it. So, all right, I'm going through and I'm reading it. And he said that back in the day, people waited until they felt hunger pains. When they felt a hunger pain, they ate until it satiated the hunger pain. And then they stopped eating. That's all that was eaten. Food wasn't something that was just done. I'm sure it was done in pleasurably, but maybe also due to the times when funds were tight and resources were low. I'm sure that fed into it as well. But all in all, where we just eat because we enjoy the gluttony embellishment of wonderful foods in our mouth, and it just makes us happy because it tastes so good. It was different then. It was just, I'm really hungry. And you know what I find? If you look at a child early on in life, most children, or at least my children, I should say, I don't want to say most children, I can't speak for everybody, but my children ate until they were full, and they were always like, done. And they would always want to pick up and leave the table. And I was raised with the philosophy from my mother of finish your plate. You have to eat everything. I would, in fact, and sometimes I remember my oldest daughter, she would come back later and I'd be like, okay, if that's all you want to eat, then fine. And then I would like finish up her plate, but she would come back like an hour and a half later and want some more to eat. So what I started doing was taking saran wrap and covering up her plate and saying, you can stop if you don't want to eat anymore. That's fine. And I said, I'll put this aside, and when you're hungry later, I'll bring it back out, and this is what you're going to eat. Because I thought it was all a strategy of getting her to eat snack food and more fun food as opposed to what the actual dinner was planned. But she would come back and she would finish the dinner. I mean, it took a while. First couple of times, she's like, no, I want pretzels or an apple or something else. I'm like, oh, here's still your chicken from dinner. We're going to finish this in the vegetables. Then if you're still hungry, you can have something else. And she never was, so she would finish her plate. So little parenting tip for all of you out there who are still raising kids. My son lasted longer than my daughters did in terms of stopping what he ate when he was done. And I am telling you, he could have a piece of chocolate cake in front of him, and he will eat a third of that chocolate cake and then say, I'm done, and get up and leave. Those days are gone now because our world and our society, and probably me as a parent, and have trained us to just keep eating, not until our hunger is satiated, but until we're almost uncomfortable, that we should just let our mouths continue to enjoy the food. And we shouldn't. We really shouldn't. So there you go. There is what I learned from reading kind of the history of our eating patterns from Dr. Simeon's, and my own experience with food too. So eating to hunger is something that, excuse me, I have a little bit of the hiccups. Dr. Simeon said, now I'm going to see if I can find the exact quote. I think I moved it. I'm so sorry. I sing things to my kids when I'm looking for something in that to keep them occupied. So I apologize. It's my habit. Okay, I found it. All right. So in his protocol, he says, quote, those not uncommon patients who feel that even so little food is too much for them can omit anything they wish. So he talks to the fact of, if you're going through your day and you've had your first meal and it's time for your second meal and you're getting ready to have your vegetable, your fruit, and your grissini stick and your chicken, whatever you're having, and you realize that you're not really that hungry, don't make yourself eat all of that. You don't have to. It's not required. We're supposed to go back to the original days of training yourself to eat when you're hungry. So there's hunger pains, and then there's maybe just general hunger that you have, and then there's just eating because of that's what you should do, and that's what you can do. I remember finding myself on the diet sometimes not being hungry, but thinking, oh, shoot, it's almost time to go to bed. I forgot. I get to eat. Not hungry at all, but I go and grab all that food and I put it in my mouth. Not only on this diet, but just in life. Like, oh, wow, I haven't eaten since 2 o'clock today. I can't go to bed. Yes, I can. I do not need to force more food into my body before laying down. Kind of the worst thing that you can do, right? So we need to start to get more in tune with our bodies and be aware. And if you have gurgling in your stomach and it's starting to feel like hunger pain, see, is it time for your hCG drops? Do you need something to eat? So now yesterday, I'm doing kind of the same philosophy with the hCG hormone. And yesterday, I only had 1 dose. Now, I'm not recommending this to you. I'm just telling you what I did. I had that little piece of breakfast thing with a couple blueberries in the morning. Okay, later in the day, I had my fish. And then later on, I had the hCG. I was going to have my hCG hormone. And I wasn't, I just did, I feel like, because in the morning, all right, sorry, let me articulate this. If I wake up in the morning and I feel hungry, I can take the drops and then it's taken care of. So the hCG hormone kind of gives you that satiated, full feeling too. Well, if I'm done eating a whole meal and I don't have that craving in that, I'm thinking, do I need to take the hCG hormone? So I woke up this morning and I was hungry. I'm normally not hungry in the morning. I was hungry, but I took the hCG hormone first thing. So I'll definitely be taking 2 doses today for sure. Again, mind you, the bottle says take 10 drops and I take closer to 20. So this could be part of the whole figuring it all out in that too. Like if you're doing injections, you're going to know exactly how many cc's are going into the syringe, but this is a different situation. It's just tricky because the bottle says only 10 drops 3 times a day. However, it also says a bottle is good for a 21-day cycle. So they contradict. You really have to take about 20 drops a day to finish the bottle in 21 days. So for me, I was just kind of figuring it out. At least the bottle that I take, maybe tomorrow I'll talk about where I get my drops again so that we have that out there for everyone. I've put a couple other videos on it, but I'll do one that's more recent so you don't have to go digging back in time. So yeah, I'm kind of figuring it all out as I go, if you will. I have no hunger now. I just taught for 4 hours, and no, I didn't. I taught for about 3 hours, I have no hunger pains. I have no desire to eat, that kind of thing. I mean, I have a desire to eat. I always have a desire to eat. I would really love it if somebody could create a hormone, a drop, an injection, a surgical procedure. Well, I guess they have. I suppose if you get your stomach stapled, you feel very full because it's so small. So I guess there is a surgical procedure that has been developed. So I'll bypass that. But something easy to just take my desire away. Although, you know what? That doesn't take people's desire away either. I mean, kind of. When you're really full and you feel like I can't get another piece of food in my mouth, you really don't have a desire to eat anymore because it's just uncomfortable and it doesn't make you happy. So I guess it kind of does. All right, so 300 calories a day is all you need. Now, 300 calorie days is all you need. All right, I have too many tabs open and too many notes and too many thoughts in my head. I apologize. So needing the 500 calories a day is not a requirement. Now, I have read that some people go down as low as 300 calories a day, not consistently, but on the day that they feel like I'm just not hungry anymore, they'll go down to 300, not less than that. Now, you women out there who may have some sort of trigger for an eating disorder, don't listen to this information and think on the hCG diet that you're going to have 200 to 300 calories every day. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. This is just in those rare instances, because most times you are going to want to eat those 500 calories a day. We're talking about on the days that you truly have no desire to eat it. It's okay to eat a little bit less. And as you saw, he said, you can omit anything you wish. I'm going to interject and say that's not a good recommendation anymore. Especially if you find yourself every couple of this pattern. I think the protein in the vegetables are the most important part of this diet. The grissini stick in the fruit, not so much, because the fruit has calories in it, and the grissini stick has carbs, which converts to sugar and has calories in it too. Not calories, but sugar. And they don't have really a nutritional value compared to what the vegetables and the protein do. I think a lot of people are going to need the protein to keep their energy up. So I think in my world, I would say the protein is the most important part of the diet. And then the vegetables are the second most important part. So I would ensure that you were having those every day. I think that's vitally important. Don't get in the habit of choosing not to eat those. Now, that being said, we have people out there who are doing fasting, and I'm not talking just intermittent fasting where they're eating a meal a day, but they're literally fasting a day or two, or they're doing OMAD, which is 1 day on, 1 day off, or that type of OMAD. Where it's not true OMAD, but okay, we'll just go back and calling it fasting. I've read many diets out there where people eat a day, fast a day, eat a day, fast a day, and they literally are going 24 hours without having anything. So there are different people out there and different people to ascribe and subscribe to these different philosophies, and that I just feel like because this is long and sustained and it's every day and it's so few calories, on the off day, you are not having 1,800 calories. You're just having 500 calories again. So because of that, and because if it's a sustained calorie decrease, I say every day have your protein and your vegetable, please. I find that to be important. Again, I'm not a medical professional. I've said this on many of the previous videos. I think I should add it into my bio. So this is all just my opinion on everything and all the information I've gathered and I've put together into a video. So contact your own physician for specifics on what is healthy for you. Everyone also has a different body. They have different diseases. They have different, everyone's different. So I don't want to give any advice that's going to harm anybody by any means. So make your own decision after consulting your physician. All right, so we're saying that we could go down as low as 300, right? Well, I want to address the fact that I have said in the past, you can eat anywhere between 500 to 800 calories on this diet. All right? I think there are certain days where your body is going to need more than the 500 calories. And I think on these days, it's okay to push it to 650. Try to stop there and then monitor yourself and see if you need to get any more than that. I believe that these are days where maybe in the past you didn't realize how many calories you were taking and you were taking in less than 500, or it's a day where you were highly active and moving around and you were just burning a lot of calories because it was a very active day. Highly stressed day, maybe you were burning a lot from that. It could just be one of these things that your body, for whatever reason, is craving it and needing it. On occasion, I think that's okay. Up your caloric intake on those days. But what about the diets where it says, well, this is a 500 calorie diet, or you can choose to be on the 800 calorie diet? And I've even said this before because, I'm getting all caught up in reading everyone else's stuff too and thinking, 800 calories are for men and 500 calories are for women. There are many women who have a lot more pounds to lose and inches to lose than men do on the diet. I went back and read Dr. Simeon's protocol, skimmed through the whole thing again today. I didn't read every word verbatim again today, but when I read through, because it's multiple pages, when I was going through it, there is nothing in there that delineates, if you're this much weight, you do this on the diet. If you're this gender, you do this on the diet. None of that. He had everyone in his study. He said even if the goal was to lose 5 pounds, I was shocked when I read this today. I don't remember this before. Even if the goal is to only lose 5 pounds, that you should be on the diet for 21 days. So I'll get to that. I'm kind of curious, the whole philosophy behind that, and I didn't dig deeper into it. But the bottom line is, if you go to his protocol, it is status quo across the board. His research subjects were all on the same protocol, and his results did not lend him to make special accommodations for anybody. Take that as you will. I understand why some people are saying the 800 calorie. I think some of the people are scared at the number of 500 calories a day because in the past we would freak out. Or if you're not on the hCG hormone, we would also freak out. Say, what are you doing to your body? But the hCG hormone should do what it needs to do. And it should attack the fats it needs to attack. And I'm going to talk about that another day too. There's an interesting paragraph where he talks about the 3 different types of fats that are in our body. And when you diet, which fats are typically taken first and which fat the hCG hormone goes to. So that I thought was fascinating. But being on this hormone, it does change the metabolic complexities of your body. Things are different on this hormone. In addition to it just being an appetite suppressant, which it will be for you, it is doing other things in your body too. And it is making sure that your body is healthily not atrophying your muscles and not taking the essential important fats that are needed to protect your organs, but it is going to your fat reserves. Okay. So that is why the 500 calories is okay on this diet. And that is why 500 calories outside of the hCG protocol is not okay. Again, consult your physician. Do what you need to do. But I always thought that, if you're starting off, used to eating 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. Maybe you do this diet on 800 calories. But he said all weights, all body types, all sizes, all genders, everybody was on the same protocol. All right. So that's all the information I have today. A lot more than I intended to say. I kind of touched on a couple different topics that I'm going to mark off on my sheet today. Happy dieting out there. I hope you found this informative and useful and motivating. And I'll see you tomorrow with my next weigh-in, and we'll see how I'm doing on day number 8. Take care. Bye-bye.